2020 was a different kind of year for the art world. With international travel shut down, the street art community found itself, along with everybody else, grounded. Alongside the many challenges this posed, it gave us time to reflect upon the models and practices this scene is built on. Join me now as I take a look back over the year and consider some of the work and the artists that have reflected upon the world and helped pull many of us through these unprecedented times. My name's Doug, you're watching FWTV. We all know 2020 has been a crap year because we've lived it. But if you dig deep enough in this hot, steamy mess, you'll find plenty to be hopeful for. And I'm really going to try my best to focus on the positives in this video as much as I can. There were really two main news stories that dominated the headlines this year. COVID-19 and the re-emergence of the Black Lives Matter movement and the discourse regarding race relations in the US and around the world. One forcing us inside, the other out onto the streets. When the news first broke of the COVID outbreak, I don't think any of us imagined we'd be sitting here having Christmas dinner with our family over Zoom. Tiered up and locked down, just like the headlines, COVID seems to have dominated the street art world as well. Mask-themed work became a huge feature in murals and smaller pieces, and was used as a way of subverting some old favourites. As we stood on our doorsteps and at our windows clapping, the streets became thank you cards to the key workers around the world who found themselves on the front line of this pandemic. When the physical world became off limits, many looked for creativity in the digital.
From my home studio, my actual studio is down the street, but I think it's haunted. I don't go there at night.
Live streaming interviews, classes and tutorials became a staple online. No, not you, Jeff. And we were given an insight into artist studios like never before. This also pushed galleries and fairs into the virtual world, and I think this is probably something we can expect to see a lot more of in the future. As immersive and conceptual as this experience is, I think it's still a long way off replacing the conversations with a stranger over a piece on an opening night. After the death of George Floyd, thousands upon thousands around the world took to the streets and defied curfews and lockdowns to fight a very different kind of enemy. And a movement most of us had only ever read about through history was lived. For many, this was new territory and a conversation that made us face uncomfortable truths. We were asked to look at our actions or inactions and to see how they impacted others, to see if we have been actively contributing to a system based on equality. The institutional art world, galleries, museums, publications, festivals, they were all asked to look inward and examine themselves. 6 months later, I think we're really just starting to see who was just playing along and who was actually taking notes and listening. It's really easy to slam social media and technology, but when you see how effective these tools are at exposing the rot in society and helping strangers mobilize a movement, you have to be thankful to be part of a generation able to force this kind of change. Never have revolutions been so well documented. From the bushfires in Australia to the explosion in Beirut, the streets have continued to be a place of reflection and contemplation in understanding how we view our world. Whether you're a painter or a photographer or anything in between, your technical training is completely irrelevant about the art you make. In 2020, the only thing that matters to me is the voice you are using to speak. I can't help but wonder what the world's going to look like when we re-emerge in the coming months or even years. Will we show that we've been listening? That we've been actively trying to find more meaningful ways to engage with the subjects and the communities that are close to us? Because there will always be a need for beauty in this chaos, but it's with increasing importance that those willing to speak up and to speak out are heard. For many of us, 2020 was a year that we faced loss. But through that hardship, we found a universal commonality. I'd like to finish by paying my respects to Tamara Jurovic, who we sadly said goodbye to in November. More widely known as Hauru, Tamara was a fearless painter who set the bar for muralists everywhere. She was as thoughtful and poetic in her work as she was in person, and her dry, sharp sense of humour will forever be missed, but never forgotten.